Actually, does anyone know when does season 2 come out? I should have looked at that.
In March something.
16th. I think it's March 16th.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So it's
Pretty
like
soon.
in a couple weeks.
Perfect.
Yeah, March 16th. Yep.
Awesome. I'm like, memory, don't fail me.
And we are live, so we're
Yay.
on there. So, welcome everyone to and Lacey's here.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
Just on time.
That's okay. How'd your interview go? Really
It
fast.
was really fun. Yeah.
Oh, good.
You got a busy last night and then now today too. You've just had a busy weekend.
Yeah.
And aren't you doing interviews this week too?
Yeah. It was just one with Candy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, just Candy.
It's so casual.
Everybody
Just another
was saying
day in
that was
Lacey's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Lizelle. So, I don't know. What do we want to get into? How do we want to chat about this?
Okay. I mean, honestly, like, I'm just so pumped to be chatting about the crows that I'm just like, oh my gosh. Do you guys want to just take it a book at a time, or you just want to talk about whatever? I'm okay with whatever.
Was it a reread for all of you guys?
No, it was my first time.
Okay, me too. Me
reading
too.
it.
Oh.
Oh,
So what did you guys think of it, first time readers? I'm just curious.
Lacey?
It was it was really interesting. I sadly was not a huge fan of the original series. What was it called?
Shadow and Bone.
Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, Shadow and Bone. I read them like back when they first came out. Wasn't a huge fan. But the world was at least interesting. And I did like seeing more of it with this duet. I think there was a lot of too many characters here, but I still had a fun time with it.
yeah.
I did something similar. Like I read the Shadow and Bone trilogy like a couple years ago, and I wasn't impressed with them. Like I only loved the Darkling, and so when that didn't happen, I was like, I'm out. And so I didn't continue on, even though everybody said like this duology is so much better. And I was like, I just need a break from that. Like not in the mood. So like this time, like because I did watch the Netflix adaptation and I really liked it. Like they did better with the main like story and stuff. So I liked seeing all the characters, but like I had different thoughts to like some of them, like Jasper and stuff. I loved him in the show, and like in here I didn't like him like in the first book. So I was like, what's going on here? So yeah, the first book was a little harder to get into for me. The second book I liked more. And yeah, like I'm curious if people just read this duology, like if because I feel like you need to kind of have the background of like the world, because she doesn't really explain it much with the first book, I feel like, with Six of Crows. So like if people just read this, like I don't know if they'd like it as much, you know?
Well, I have to admit, like when I read this first and I was so confused. I was literally going to booktubers just like us being like, okay, what am I missing? Like you had to do research on because I'm like, what is this drug that they introduce in like the first 5 seconds? And that first epilogue or not epilogue, that's at
Prologue.
the end. Yeah, prologue. Like, I'm like, this is so confusing. I have no idea what's going on. So when I read it a second time, it was like, oh, this makes more sense because I had read everything else. But yeah, I had to do research. I was confused.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that would be confusing, especially when, because even though these are not really like as Grisha focused, if you don't have that background of like the different kinds of Grisha, like that, she doesn't take any time to do a lot of world building in that sense in this series.
Right.
But yeah, I could definitely see that would be really confusing.
Which I feel like she doesn't do, they, or not she, but like they didn't do that in the Netflix show either. Like my husband watched it with me and he was like, what is this even, like, why are they, who are these people? Like, what's going on? And so I'd have to be like, oh, they're wearing this color for this. And like, they do this.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember, my podcast co-host and I had her, I'm like, we got to cover this when it comes out. And she does not read, like, she doesn't read at all. She didn't read these books or whatsoever. And she was the same way. She was kind of like, am I going to get this? Like, she was texting me during the first couple of episodes. And then once I feel like you just almost like either you get an understanding or you just make do without it. And I feel like that's what she kind of did. But I do kind of think that the show almost caters more towards people who do have that background knowledge, which is fine. But also you don't want to alienate new audiences either.
For sure, yeah.
I have to admit, when I watch a show, I was even confused because I hadn't reread it. And now that I've at least read Shadow and Six of Crows, I'm like, oh, okay, this is making more sense. But even as a reader, I was confused because I didn't remember because I had read them like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I think about it, like they did the Six of Crows aspect a little bit better for the show because I'd never read the duet when I watched the show, but at least I understood what was going on with them. But the whole Grisha part was probably could have developed a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, I have to admit, like some of the characters that they're introducing for season 2, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't remember the Axe Girl. Like, where did she come from? Like, I don't remember her, but I know she's a big person in the Shadow and Bone series. So I'm like, okay, the girl with the axes, who is she?
Yeah, agreed. Kaz and Inej are also my 2 favorite characters of this whole. I mean, like, I love the Darkling. Christy, I agreed with you. I pointed that the Darkling did not turn out to be the love interest in Shadow and Bone. But in this duet, Kaz and Inej are like by far my 2 favorite characters in it.
Your ship sailed.
No,
they have time to change it in the show. Like, I still have faith.
They do. I'm like, you have Ben
turn it
Barnes
around.
who could charm himself out of anything. So
yeah. See, I loved Inej and Nina and like Matthias or whatever. Matthias. I liked them. Like Kaz, I was telling Carrie, like, I didn't love him like as much as people love Kaz until like the very end of Crooked Kingdom.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I definitely was more invested in the whole Nina and Matthias storyline than everyone else's. And then that ship sank. Like,
right? I had to ask Carrie, I was like, did that really just happen? Like, did she do that? Like, did I read it wrong?
I know. It was one of those moments where she just added it in there because it was a random person. It was like a random person from his court, like, or his country or whatever. Sorry, I've been reading Sarah J. Maas saying courts.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I'm a Kaz girl through and through. So like Kaz and Inej all the way. But I don't know if it was because of when I read it or if I would have felt differently if I was reading it for the first time now. But when I read it back, it was nostalgia, like through and through. I mean,
I noticed like people who read it before, like they are strong Kaz lovers. Where like, yeah, I feel like newer people, like, well, at least for me and Lacey, like, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. The second he rips out some eyeballs, I'm like,
that's my man.
Yeah. And I think I just really love in the TV show, I love Freddie Carter playing him too.
Oh, yeah.
That it only like enhanced my love of that character more, where like maybe if the portrayal on screen wouldn't have been like as good, then maybe I wouldn't like still have that same connection to him. But then there are characters like Mal from Shadow and Bone that it's like, I was always like, this dude is a flop. But then in the show, I actually kind of like him. So that kind of like boosted him up. That now if I reread the Shadow and Bone series, I bet I might like that character more because of the like on-screen portrayal of him.
Question for you guys. Do you think they're going to change the series to where the Darkling is going to be the one she ends up with?
I hope so.
I know, right? But I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean, we could all hope, but yeah, I don't think so.
Right.
I feel like
I think we all were rooting for the Darkling, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
I think when they decided to put the collar like under her skin, like they made it look so disturbing on the TV show where like in the book, I just imagined it as like a little necklace that's like wrapping around her throat made of antlers. It's like protruding from her skin. I feel like they made that choice very definitive there of being like, this is not someone that you guys are going to want at the end, even though we still will.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they gave him all those scars in the trailer for the second one, so he's like a very villainous looking for the second season. Yeah. In the first one, you're like, oh, maybe not, you know, am I wrong for liking him? And I guess in the second one, they're like, yeah, you're gonna be wrong for liking him.
But like when you set him up when he's hopping off that horse like in stride and just does that little like whoosh thing.
Right. You can't do that and not have him be the end game.
Thank you. Oh, so
He's
attractive.
beautiful though. I mean, honestly, I was like thinking about the whole cast of everybody they casted, and they just nailed the whole cast. But I'm really excited about the new cast coming in for season 2. I'm like, Nikolai, I'm with you.
So are the new people part of the Shadow and Bone world, or is it like the other spinoff?
I think it's a 50-50 because even some of the newer people are from like, what is it, King of Scars? Like, isn't some of those, I forget what her name was for the heroine for King of Scars.
Zoya.
Yeah, I think Zoya's coming in, right? Am I wrong?
Is it Zola or Zoya? Something.
I think it's Zoya. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think she's coming into the mix this season. Or no, she was already on the first season. But yeah. But so who did they have from the Crows on the first season?
They have the kid, the
Wylan?
Right, the one they kidnapped back, right? Who's the one they go rescue from the
Way something?
Oh no, the guy's son. What's the guy's son's name that went on them for the heist?
In the books or in the show?
In the books. Sorry, I'm blanking right now. He couldn't read, so his dad would taunt him about not being able to read, because he'd always send him letters, and then he ended up falling in love with Jasper.
That's Waylon.
Yeah, Wayland's coming on. Yeah. He's from the Crows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the only one
him.
who wasn't on the first season.
Yeah.
So
yeah, his story in like Crooked Kingdom with his parents was terrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like what his dad did to the mom and stuff. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they all had such terrible trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which like made for the found family, like of all of them.
Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite character that you just were just like, nothing better happened to this character?
Probably Nina.
Yeah, I agree, Nina.
Do you have one, McKay? Or
Yeah, probably Nina or Inej. I really like Inej a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But like she can, not that Nina can't handle herself, but I feel like I couldn't see anything happening to Inej because she's just she's quick with her knives.
Right. Sorry, I think Kaz will always be my favorite. Just because of like how much trauma he went through about with his brother, and like he had to pretty much use him as a raft to get to shore. I mean, like, and then he couldn't touch anybody with the gloves, and it was just like, oh, his trauma gutted me. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I remember first reading these, and I was just thinking to myself, like, because I still to this day think that this is one of my top rated. You wouldn't really call it fantasy romance, but there is like romance elements to it, but it's very minor, but like still one of my top fantasies. I just loved it. Did you guys end up saying your ratings for the books, just out of curiosity?
All of us?
Mm-hmm.
I gave the first one like 3.5 stars, and I'd give the second one 4 stars.
Yeah, I'm about the same. Like the first one was okay for me, 3 stars, and then I definitely liked the second one more, 4 stars.
Yeah.
I gave the first one 5 stars, and I gave the second one 4 stars. I think I'm in the like kind of the opposite. I don't love Crooked Kingdom as much as I love Six of Crows.
I'm biased. I'm 5 and 5. I think
the plot was stronger in Six of Crows, but like in Crooked Kingdom, I feel like the plot kind of fell away in the middle. But like I was so invested in like their whole group that I didn't really care about the plot anymore.
See, I think that was the thing that I loved in the first one. Like I loved the heist sequence, and I loved that, and kind of like Kaz kind of like pulling together this ragtag group of people to do this with. That even though I still liked that in Crooked Kingdom, I missed that like central kind of plot that all I mean, there was still plot to it, but I like heists. I don't know. I think those are fun to read.
Have you run it? Because I haven't run across anything that's been like this. Have you guys run across another, like not even fantasy, but like a heist type situation that kind of mimics this? Because I feel like it's original in its own right, because I haven't read really anything like it.
I mean, there's like a classic fantasy series. What is it called? Like, let me think. Let me look it up. But it's just like it's like adult fantasy. Like, let me see.
Right. I mean, because when you really say it's like Ocean's 11 or whatever, it really is. You're just taking out the money and putting in a person, you know? So, I mean, I really want to know what your guys' favorite scenes were. Like, that would be a question for you guys too.
Oh, the Lies of Loch Lamora, the Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch. Like, it's a fantasy series, and it is just like this is practically the same thing, but adults.
Nice.
When you say heist, I immediately think of Allie Carter and her Heist Society series, her old YA series. Like, she wrote Gallagher Girls, which I also loved. But yeah, I don't come across heist stuff that often.
The only one that I can think of, and it's a decent part of the book, but it's also not, is in Savage Lover by Sophie Lark. They heist a diamond out of a bank. So
hey, that's a heist. That's awesome.
I think of the like historical one, Kit Webb, like whatever that one is, where they're doing like one of them's a highwayman and like they're doing a heist, but like the heist didn't really like pay off as far as the plot, but like they have it set up like that too.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a Lorraine Heath historical that also has a heist where they have to steal from a museum, I think.
Yeah.
I'm coming back to this live just to write all these down.
Well, so does Kate Bateman. Isn't that one series?
Yeah,
isn't that what they're doing too?
Book too. Yeah.
So I feel like in historical, it's done a lot.
Yeah, it's fantasy. I haven't seen it a ton. So
yeah, and contemporary, I feel like it's definitely a lot harder with all the technology that we have. It's not going to be easy trying to steal something.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So do you guys have a favorite scene? Like the scene that was just like, oh, this was amazing?
I don't know. Like, I actually had a kind of a hard time with the book or both books actually. Like, I feel like they moved so fast. Like, there was constantly something happening where like I didn't have enough time to stop and like process what just happened, or like even not comprehend it, but like, yeah, like grasp how much it meant or like what they were doing, because they just moved right on like to the next thing. And so like I was doing like updates on my phone about it, and I was like, I don't even have like much to say, because like just so much is happening. Like, that's about it. Like, so much. Like, it just keeps going.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't really pick a scene.
Oh, I'm like, I could talk for hours about all these scenes. Oh my gosh. Like,
which ones?
Okay.
Yeah, tell us.
The one where he was in the vault and then they figure out like he didn't take anything. He ended up leaving something in return. I thought brilliant. Like, I would never have thought of like someone breaking into a vault just to leave something behind. Mm-hmm. Or the one where she's like, Inej is tightrope walking, and she ends up fighting against the what's her name? I'm like, sorry guys,
the little assassin.
Yeah, I'm like, that was brilliant too, because she knew like she's better than her, but like, I don't have to be better than you. I just have to beat you. Sorry, I'm like that. Those are just. I mean, I could keep going. I feel bad.
No, I don't know why now I say like Six of Crows is my favorite, and I'm like struggling to think of like one scene in particular. But I do love at the end of Crooked Kingdom when Kaz brings like Inej's family and like her all on the ships there. I'm just like,
that's when Kaz finally sold me like on him. I was like, oh, that's sweet that he did that.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
Love that one.
He reminds me a lot of Rhysand. I don't know why. Like he wants to present this like really dark front, but like if you peel back a ton of layers, he's actually really sweet and kind and try to still look, even though he puts his interests first, like he'll make sure he like takes care of his crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have Christy, Lacey, if this was your first time reading Crows, have you read The King of Scars?
I haven't, no.
Carrie, have you?
I've read the first one.
Okay.
But I haven't read book 2, and it was so long ago. Like, I'd have to say it was like 5 years ago or something. It was incredibly a long time ago. Okay. So, hey, Charles. Sorry. It's I feel like I hadn't said hi.
Yeah. We totally talked about the Darkling, Charles.
Yeah. Like, everyone is Team Darkling.
Yeah.
I mean, who is reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy and is wanting Mal? Who? I am a stone or whatever that's his stupid tattoo says.
I'm surprised she took it that way because she's usually risky with her other stuff, especially when she did that to Matthias. Like, she's risky in her like decisions of choices of like plot. So I'm surprised she took it to where she took the safe route. Like, she took the safe bet, which I was like, ah.
But this was her first series, so maybe she was like, I'll go safe here. But then when she started writing more, she went a little riskier.
I know. I wish someone would ask her that. Like, if she could have rewritten Shadow and Bones, would she have picked the Darkling?
Well, I feel like she said stuff, right? Like about, or people have come out like talking about like the whole toxicness of the Darkling, which like I get, but like, it's fiction, you know, come on.
We have dark heroes all the time. Like, look at I mean, come on, dark romance is way worse than someone picking the Darkling.
Yeah.
Like, I get it because it's YA, but imagine if you wrote this as a new adult or adult dark romance.
I'd even be fine if it was like a little throuple situation that they end up with.
As long as the Darkling gets some action. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's what Charles is wanting right there with Mal and
you know what? I'm not a big fan of threesomes, but I would be okay with that. Like, literally, I'm saying it here. I would be okay with that situation. I'm like, because I'm just not invested in Mel at all. Like, as a character, you're just not.
No. And no. And I do get that, to your point, Lacey, of it being YA, like that then it would make sense that she picked Mal and like went that direction. I think maybe she was writing it now, or if she put it more in like the new adult category, that could potentially be different. But or like maybe even the Netflix show, I'm like, come on, I don't really feel like this is aimed at like kids. Give us grown-ups what we want.
Right. Like, the people who read Shadow and Bone originally, we're all adults now, you know?
Correct.
Yep. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see which way they take the show. Because I feel like they're intertwining 2 books, so it's going to be written a little bit differently.
I think intertwining 3 of them, like all 3 series.
Yeah.
I think that's smart because honestly, I feel like Shadow and Bone would not have enough substance to carry on its own. That it's really they incorporated the Crows.
Yeah, they should have just called it like the Grishaverse series.
Right.
I think so too.
Do you know because I haven't rewatched the show, so I'm just trying to go off memory from last year. Do you remember if they had that drug that the Judah Param or whatever, was that in the show?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Okay. I feel like that's a drug that's going to be coming. I mean, that's too good of a storyline not to throw that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. When you guys read fantasy, I don't know about you guys, but when there are certain words that I can't pronounce, I just like substitute in my head. And there were so many times I was reading this book and I was calling it Juvederm. Like, I think it's I knew where you were going just to make it easier for me when I was reading.
Yeah, I listened to the audios, so they just gave me all the pronunciations, which I was thankful for.
See? Should be doing that. No, Carrie, not on the show yet.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, that's a huge storyline that they need to stick in there.
Yeah. Do you think though, okay, with the Matthias, do you think he's actually going to die in the show or no?
I would hope not. But I don't know.
Yeah, they changed a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's so much like, yeah. I hope not.
Because I feel like they're building him up a lot, so I don't think they're gonna kill him off now.
Yeah,
Well,
imagine
a couple seasons to do it.
Imagine if the show just gave us everything that we wanted, like the Darkling endgame and Matthias living at the end. That would just dream come true.
Charles says he has to.
I did not like Matthias's character in the book that much, but I love the actor playing him, and I really like him on the show a lot more. Like, I like him and Nina together, but him as his own separate character, I was just kind of like underwhelmed by him. So then when he died, I was kind of like, wait, am I actually like more attached to this character than I maybe thought I was? And I think it was mostly because of Nina. But
she makes his character better, 100%.
Yeah. Like, I like them together. Yeah, not on his own.
Oh no, he's a brute on his own.
I think he's from Wisconsin actually too. I think he went to college like 2 hours away from here, and I was like, sir. But of course, he had to leave here. That's fine. Yeah, I love purposeful character death. Like, I'm totally fine if characters are killed. Like, honestly, well, I'm not gonna like spoil. Everyone's read Akatar here. If you're in the comments, whatever, I'm not really gonna spoil anything. But in Wings and Ruin, I was so convinced that Cassian was gonna die, and as much as it would have hurt me, I was like kind of rooting for it a little bit. And when he did it, I was kind of like, this. But now I wouldn't want that. But like at the time, I was like, this would have been really good. That I like the way that she did his death, and I liked that someone did die. And like, if someone had to die out of the 6,
yeah.
That's not even a spoiler, girl. He's got his own book.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. Like, that's not even a spoiler. Oh. That is a big one. Like, I would be devastated if they canceled the show just because I want to see where they end up taking it, especially since they have so much content. They've got like 6 books to play off of, right? Wait, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like they have a lot of like content that they could. I mean, man, they made those graphics so amazing too. Like, when I was looking at the trailers, I got chills. I was just like, oh my gosh.
They did a really good job with it.
Yeah, they had a lot of money.
I feel like Netflix hasn't really canceled a lot of their own shows, have they, lately? So I feel like they'd stick with it.
I don't know.
Yeah. That would be interesting to see which way they're going to take it. I think for me, like, I would really want to see more of the crows than I would. I feel bad saying this, but I'm like, can the shadow, because I feel like for season 1, the crows were kind of like the secondary like plot line, and like the Shadow and Bone were like the main plot line, you know? I kind of would like that to reverse, you know? I don't know.
I feel like it will, or at least I feel like it'll even out a lot more now that we got so much of the content from Shadow and Bone in the first season. Like, we already kind of know like who the Darkling is, what he does. We kind of have all of that established, that I feel like it'll be more even.
The show did make me like Mal more.
Yeah. It's definitely giving him like, I don't know, like a
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, that was what her end game was going to be in the books. She should have like had him have some redeeming qualities, or like, you know, want Elena. Like, he always just kind of like tosses her to the side.
Right. Like, oh, you're just there. Like, oh,
and it's like, why are we rooting for him? Like, she's pining, and he's like, he doesn't care about her.
I feel like they had a brother-sister relationship too. Like,
yeah.
I didn't see the chemistry.
Exactly. Yeah.
She had more chemistry with Nikolai than she did. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I am so excited his character is coming, you guys. Like, to a T, as much as I like Kaz, I like Nikolai just as much. I mean, a pirate type, like, ruffian. I'm curious.
Who is Nikolai?
Yeah, what does he look like in the show?
Okay,
has he been in it?
No, he's new. He's a new character coming in.
Which book is he from, though?
Siege and Storm.
He comes in. All of them.
He comes in Siege and Storm, Christy, book 2. And then he's in 3. And then he has the spinoff of King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, I think. Those are like his kind of books.
You actually
okay.
saw him in Crooked Kingdom too. He was the king. He's the king that they had to get, like he was bidding on at
the auction.
sun. Yeah. So he was the king and they didn't realize that he was the one bidding. And yeah, he's like, I mean, that banter between him and Kaz, like, I just loved it. He's like, yeah, I need to know who you are because if we're going to jump off a bridge together, you know what I mean? Like, the way she wrote it was just, gosh.
Charles. I mean, yeah, bring them all
Put
in.
everyone together.
Yeah, just bring them all in.
I bet someone's written that on AO3. I bet
Right.
all people hard no.
That would be really funny.
I do have to say that with Netflix doing this show, though, at least the visual effects are good, and I feel like just them tackling a fantasy show all together, like it actually looks high quality and not kind of like budget version, which is why I'm still just very nervous of the Avatar show. Like I hope it just straight up doesn't happen because I don't want them to ruin it. I like trust HBO because they've proven time and time again that they can handle that kind of material. Yeah. And like obviously Netflix, like I feel like they've kind of at this point like kind of proven themselves. Hulu, I don't trust you yet to make it look like
they're posting all that stuff that they're getting budget cuts and everything. I mean, what can you do if you're cutting budget for effects? Like those are the first thing that are gonna go.
Right, like you might as well just go on the CW or Passionflix, you know?
Right. They're all going to just be running through the woods. I mean, I could film that. I'm sorry. I've got my iPhone.
He's like, come to my backyard. We'll do this whole season.
I have a waterfall in my backyard. Let's do this.
Like Akatar Carrie's version.
Yeah.
You know what? If I get close, though, would that not be hilarious? I'll be like, okay, they needed a few more dollars here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I was very impressed with the effects of the first season. So I'm very excited to see season 2. Keep going with it.
Well, even like Amazon Prime has done really well with their fantasy stuff, like their Lord of the Rings prequel stuff, and even that other like YA fantasy series they did recently. Like, I don't remember what it's called, but like their special effects and like money budget is like obviously there. They have really good stuff.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of that. Okay, but like love this fantasy. Okay.
I don't know. That one is fantasy?
No, this one's contemporary.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like do you have budget for like wings? Like if you screw up how Reese looks, you're on.
People are gonna go insane, like feral, if they do it wrong.
Yeah,
I know. That's why I feel like they just shouldn't touch it. Like, just back out now.
Yeah. Like, how did Hulu even manage to get this, like, landed? Did no one else offer? Is this why?
They threw some Disney money at it, I guess.
They had to have. Because honestly, like, Sarah already comes with her own people. She's already got 1 million subscribers. I mean, that's 1 million people that are going to watch it off the top. You know what I mean? And with the right, like, marketing, you market it as like the next Twilight or however you want to market it, you're going to get like those people watching the show.
Yeah.
Yes. The Wheel of Time was the other Amazon Prime show. That one they did good with the special effects.
Okay.
But that one only lasted 1 season, right?
And did they cancel it?
I only saw 1 season. I don't know if someone.
Well, like it just came out last year.
Did it? For some reason, I'm thinking it was like 3 years old.
No.
There's no sense of time since 2020.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, they have it signed up for 3 seasons, so they're going to keep doing it.
See, for me with the Hulu stuff, I'm like, this isn't going to come out till like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Season 2 comes out later. Oh, is that
the Wheel of Time? Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I must be thinking of something else then.
This would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Aaron Warner on screen.
Warner.
Like,
yes.
That is another time I'm like, see, you can kind of end up with the villain a little bit. Lee, you could have done that.
Yeah, Shatter Me had 7 books. How many books did Shatter Me have? Was it?
It was 6, and then there was the novella, like the one like sparkly pink unicorn looking cover that was like a novella.
I think I made it through 5 of those. I didn't ever read the ending.
I never even continued after the trilogy.
I never read it at all.
Yeah.
Don't bother.
Not reading the last 3. The first 3 are where it's at. The last, like, they're fine, but
it's not like the first 3.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I just feel like with Six of Crows, with them talking, because I mean, Lee has mentioned about a Six of Crows 3, but when I went to that thing when she was in Pasadena or whatever, she mentioned, oh yeah, we're going to get back to it in a couple years, but I guess last month she's like, no, we're going to put it off for another 7-8 years. I'm like,
what?
Yeah. So she's changing her mind. So I don't know, for some of you looking for another Crows book. She said it, she's going to do it, but it could be a decade before we get it. So I don't know how that's going to play out.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you just have that in the back of your mind for like a decade and not get that out on paper? I don't know. I feel like that
she could say she wants to do it and doesn't have anything to inspire her.
So there might be nothing in the back of her mind about it.
Yeah.
Right.
What's Nina gonna do? Well, she's gonna be fine on her own, but it's like, where's her storyline gonna go? Without, because hers is so closely intertwined with Matthias.
I'm hoping
at the end of the books, wasn't she headed back to where Elena is and stuff?
No, I thought she's headed to Matthias to bury him at his land.
But I mean, after that, wasn't she going to go head off to go back with the Grisha or whatever?
I think so.
Okay, prediction time. I predict, since she could raise the dead, she raises Matthias back up somehow. Just saying, she takes another vial and gets him to come back from the dead. I'm throwing that out there. Come on, Lee, you could do this.
For the books or for the show? Because I could actually see doing it in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But she could raise the dead. I'm like, if she ends up taking more Judah Parem or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah. That sounds like me trying to theorize about after the end of season 8 of Game of Thrones. Without spoiling anything, I have so many theories of well, maybe this person can be resurrected somehow. Trying to find these little theories. You never know.
They just they got to resurrect that whole season.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, Rachel's here.
No. I didn't know Nina was also I think I just realized recently when Carrie was talking about the King of Scars that this was all in the same world. I thought it was a different kind of like what she did with Ninth House, a whole different story.
Yeah, that's the only book I haven't read from her is Ninth House. Because it's not really a romance, right?
No, that's the only book I've DNF'd.
Okay. You liked it, right, McKay?
I haven't read Ninth House.
Who did I see holding it up? Oh, that was Jess from Honest Fiction.
I don't know. I used to want to pick it up, but now I just don't really read much YA fantasy or even fantasy if it doesn't have heavy romance plot in it.
Elements. Yeah. I would have to say this one would have went on the back burner knowing that it doesn't have a heavy romance element to it. It's got to be somewhere in there where this one, it is really on the back burner. There's
yeah, I would just say this series is YA fantasy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1000%.
It's all about, I mean, though, you know what? When she was stabbed or something, and when he was carrying her on the boat because he was so upset that someone got to her, I was just oh my God, that part I was just oh my gosh. Right there.
That was more romantic than half the shit I've read in actual romantic books. That did it for me.
Oh, for sure. He's I'm going to rip this. You're everyone's dead. Everyone, if she dies, everyone else is dead.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That Hellbent cover though.
The rabbit.
Yeah.
I can't.
That seems more horror. Am I wrong?
It's kind of like paranormally mystery, like kind of like that kind of vibe, like dark academia, like Charles said. Yeah, Belladonna was so good.
Belladonna. Oh, you mean this one? This one right over here?
Yep, there she is.
Yeah,
that
one
was really good.
Anytime you introduce death, I'm there. I'm here for it. Which, Lacey, you got me. Speaking of like threesomes, you got me to read one.
Wait, which one?
Yeah, which one?
Karina Halley, the book 2 of
okay. Technically,
it is totally a threesome, and it counts.
Wait, which one?
I didn't know you were already on book 2.
Girl,
wait, like the River of Shadows?
I'm ready for book
Crimson
3.
River?
Crown of Crimson.
Okay.
But book 1 is River of Shadows, yeah.
Okay.
It was
I just put it on my TBR this month.
It's really good. You'll like it.
It's an interesting threesome.
It is very interesting. And it's sad because I'm here for it. No, it's not sad, but I'm here for it. That one I was like, sure. That's very interesting.
Okay, well, you're welcome, Carrie.
Wait, so Carrie, have you read Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin?
I have, and we can't discuss it in case anybody hasn't like read it yet, but I had to be informed what was going to happen.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
Okay.
That one I liked. She's pirate. Like, hello. Like, that would work for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, I'm such a fated mates girl that it's just like my ultimate soulmate. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where I'm at.
Gotcha.
Well, I might have to do the River of Shadows one then, because I was going to do Blood Orange like first.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm waiting on the next book.
Book 3 is supposed to come out soon, right?
No, she took a little hiatus, a break.
Yeah, I'll probably end up getting them at Book Bonanza because she's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why, like, I literally put one of her books on every single one of my TBRs so far this year, and I haven't read one yet, but I'm like, she's one of the authors that I know, like, a lot of people want to go and see, so I want to read something by her. So maybe River of Shadows will be the one I get to this month.
It's a really cool world. She actually did a really good job with that. It's like a really cool world. So, sorry.
You should read her book that I just read like this month, Heat Wave, because it's like taboo and contemporary. It's so good. Like, yeah, she gets with her dead sister's husband, but like she wanted him first. So good.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, I did put that one on my TBR after seeing you post about that because I was like, that sounds amazing. I do prefer. Like, sorry that she's dead. I do kind of like when she's alive and then or when they're alive and then they have to sneak around a little bit, but it's fine.
Yeah, same.
Because you like a lot of taboo stuff, right, McKay?
Yeah. Anything that's like not normally acceptable in real life. Because I feel like that gives me like the biggest sense of like escapism when I'm reading.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know. I don't like it when it's like you could see it happening. Like the hating game or something. I'm kind of like, I need something like a little edgier. I don't know.
Right. Hey, there's so many people who love taboo. You are not in that boat alone. There's so many people.
Did you read Blood Orange yet, Lacey, or not yet?
No, I haven't. Not yet. I will. I want to, because the whole like what is it, reincarnation stuff, that gets to me. I love that trope.
Is Blood Orange, is that in the same world as the one we ended up interviewing her for that one book, Lacey, The Sunshine something?
It might be, because
it is, the Dracula guy, right?
Yeah, it has vampires too.
Okay, you've read it, right, Christy?
Which one?
Blood Orange?
Blood Orange? No, I'm going to.
Okay. Tell me how you guys like it so then I can read it.
Isn't it student teacher, if I remember?
Yes. Yeah, professor, student,
Yeah, because I have that one, but I haven't. Do I need to read Black Sunshine first? Because I have.
No.
Not really. You'll like meet the character, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
That's going to be exciting. Yeah. So what are you guys planning for season 2? Are you guys planning to watch it like that day? Or are you going to be like, are you going to put it off to kind of like wait till everybody watches it and then you're going to just kick into it?
I like spread it out. Like I'll watch an episode here or there. Like I'm not going to binge it.
I'll probably watch it like that weekend. Not the day of, but
Yeah.
the weekend.
March 16th. Yeah, it comes out when I'm dog sitting over at my parents' house and I can't get Hulu or what's the other one? I can't get like 2 of my streaming services on their TV. I can only get Netflix and HBO Max. So then I'm kind of just stuck. Like, then I can't watch all my reality TV. So then I'm forced to like watch actual substance. So I'll probably end up watching it all that weekend.
Right. See, I'm going to probably watch season 1 like the week of, and then I'm going to go kick it. I'm going to watch the whole thing through. I'm going to be like, let's just, because I'll be ready to read my next book as soon as I'm done. Because I don't watch a ton of TV. Do you guys watch a ton of TV?
No, not really.
It depends, yeah.
I mean, I'll stop for Bridgerton just so I can rant about it. But other than that,
yes. I think that, yeah.
Because we all know what happened with Bridgerton.
Wait, what happened with Bridgerton?
Oh, that
Went
they
off the rails.
yeah.
The second season, like they just took the book and threw it over there and they went that way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So
they're
did you
just
like season 2 then?
I
What was
hated
that?
it.
Did you like season 2 then?
Not really.
No.
See, that's the problem. If you didn't read the books, season 2 was totally fine. But if you read the books and you love the characters, you're like,
Yeah.
what just happened? They're creating a whole different story. And it was
Which
really,
I feel like book 2 was like the one in the whole series. It's like perfectly just like adapt it straight to TV because like they have everything, like the humor, the family, like the friends, the dog. Like they could have just done so well following the book. And like
Right.
that one they decided to do something totally different and it was a
Yeah.
disaster.
And it is a lot of people's favorite book too.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
It was really frustrating. I totally get that. Because I mean, Kate was like a favorite character of the series. Would you say that's right? That I could say that?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
for me, they just put like enemies in her path. I wouldn't even say enemies, but like things in her path that just didn't even need to be there.
Well, like, yeah, they just totally messed up a lot of friendships and
Right.
like sister bonds and like
That's
all
right,
sorts of relationships. Yeah. And then, yeah, they're skipping like book 3 to go into book 4.
Which I'm okay with because Benedict wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, same.
Oh,
But
I
the
love
way they
Benedict.
make Penelope look, it just isn't a good look for her.
I do love Benedict in the show, though.
I do
Like,
too.
they gave him a lot more to him than his book.
Yeah. And he's very cute, so I'm okay with that.
They're just making some choices.
Wow. Then
Yeah.
maybe I don't want to read I would never like sit down and physically read the books, but I know my Hoopla has the audio form. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll actually listen to them because I love the show. And especially like I love season 2. Like I rewatched that season.
Oh.
Yeah.
So good. So maybe I don't want to read
Oh.
that.
Well, and plus, like for me, like if you're gonna read an historical McKay, I mean, I like Julia Quinn. She has great books, but I would probably recommend just someone different for you. Like maybe like a Kerrigan Byrne or something, that has a little bit of dark substance to it. I don't know.
I've been recommended one of hers. Is it the one where is the heroine or the hero? One of them are they deaf or they can't?
No.
And
Would that
it's
be-
the chapter.
Mm-mm. I feel like you would have been recommended The Highwayman, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that not
Yeah.
by? Is that not?
that's Kerrigan
Right.
Byrne, but like, no, that's not how it's set up.
Okay. But I read the one Joanna Shute book and I loved that. The
Mhm.
Lady Gets Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, I really like that it was a Cinderella kind of retelling for Benedict.
I think that book is like when I realized Cinderella retellings are not for me.
Well, that's the problem is I really like retellings. So I read a lot of fantasy retellings. So when I get something like that, I was just like, it didn't live up to the other retellings I'm used to. Obviously, I'm not thinking like Faye or anything are going to pop out, but like it just didn't live up to the hype of like retellings that I've run across, you know?
Are you going to read more historicals, McKay? Anytime soon?
I did put the third book in that Joanna Shoup series on hold at my library. But otherwise, I guess if like one piques my fancy, but I feel like there are just so many books that like so many indie books, or I hate to say like indie because like obviously there can be historical indies, but there are just so many like contemporary books on my TBR that I don't have any historicals that I'm like dying to read right now.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm the same too. I'm like, there's so many fantasies I want to read that like all my contemporaries are kind of like getting pushed back because there's, I mean, because I still haven't read Elsie Silver. I'm the last person probably on the romance booktube community that has not read Elsie Silver.
Well, I feel like a lot of people just because like the audios just started coming out, so they're just getting into her too.
Yeah.
Right.
Lacey, did you listen to the audios for The Cat and Mouse Duet, or did you read those?
I read those.
Okay.
I read them before the audios were even out.
Yeah. I just didn't know how the audios work. 'Cause, like, I've heard mixed things about them and, like, about Zaid. So I would be curious to.
I did the audio for the first one.
Oh, did you like it?
The audio was fine. I didn't have any issues with the audio.
The book, not so much.
Yeah, I love the
book. Fair.
If you love the audio, it probably made the book a little bit better because you love the audio too.
It was okay. I just won't continue.
Yeah. Fair enough.
See, and I need to read this series.
The Hathaways would be so good. I love them.
Mm-hmm. Be another perfect kind of family-oriented show.
For sure.
Carry your poor little baby with the cone.
I know. It's the comb of shame. I feel so bad, but she only has another week and then she gets it off. So then she'll get it off and then she'll be good. So spay and neuter your pets. But yeah, it was so hard because we were keeping her in the laundry room, because they're like, oh, confined spaces. And then she jumped up on the dryer, and there's a towel that holds all my like detergents, and she pulled all that down on her. I'm like, awesome. She hurt her paw. So we had to run back. So she got meds for her paw and now it's good. But I'm just like, girlfriend.
She was like, it's boring in here. I need to do something. But I was causing chaos.
Well, it's so funny because you're like, I'm trying to do the right thing, and then it's like the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're like, I'm trying to protect you.
Yeah, and it's just like, but she's so sweet. Like, I've been really lucky. My past dogs, will say, because unfortunately we don't have dogs anymore, have always been really difficult dogs. But we got really lucky with our cats. Our cats are so sweet. So, but they were very sweet dogs. They were very sweet. They just got into everything. They were like a Marley and me situation. So. Yeah, I mean, we would leave like a loaf of bread on like the furthest part of the counter, and somehow she's a beagle, and she would jump up and get this bread down. I was just shocked. I was just like, how in the world? So. But you have the cutest little dog, Lacey. Boo seems like a great dog.
He's not. He's also very, like, food is his number one thing. If you have any food lying around, he will try to get it.
But he looks like a type of dog that he wouldn't be able to get up on a countertop, right?
He jumps pretty high. I mean, he can't jump onto the counters for sure, but he jumps really high.
Motivated.
Yes. Extra motivated. So what are you guys' next reads or book clubs? I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm out of the loop since I've been doing all these other lives. Sorry, there's hair flying around.
Well, you know what we're doing for my book club next month, Carrie.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited to read that.
Tell you.
Wow, Carrie has talked about that series for forever.
Yeah.
So
I'm
finally getting to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped that you guys are going to read it. Now, if you don't like it, I'm going to be so like, oh my gosh, but it's okay. I understand.
Does it end on a cliffhanger, Carrie, or not?
No, so this is what it is. It's each book is a couple. So like the first series is all about like the wolf shifters. Then the second series is all about the vampire shifters. The third series is all because they're all with the people what do they call them? The 12. So they're the 12 guardians. So they're kind of going through each like set of guardians, but I don't want to tell anymore because I'm like, don't want to get anything away, but like that's how the series goes. So each book will be a standalone, I guess is a good way to put it, but read them in order so you kind of know what's going on, I guess is a good way to say it.
Okay, cool.
What's up next for you, McKay?
What am I reading next?
Or book club or whatever.
So for Smut Club with Cheyenne, we're doing I guess this is the first time it's being announced. We're doing Deadly Gossip by Brittany Nicole. It's like a Hollywood fixer and a client. And sounds, I don't know, like a little bit thriller, like romantic thriller-ish. And then for Out of Bounds, we're doing Was I Ever Here by Naomi Loud. I don't even know. I don't think it's like fantasy, but it's like says that the hero, he was murdered and then he's like tracking down his murderer for revenge, and then that's when he finds like the one his soul had been looking for years, and then once he sees her, he doesn't like want to let her go. So it sounds like a little dark, maybe like a little stalkerish.
Okay, is he a ghost or?
I was gonna say that.
I don't know. I couldn't really like see in like it doesn't really say on Goodreads how it like fits in there. So I guess we'll just see.
It's gonna be like Immortals After Dark vibes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested to see, and it's both two authors that I haven't read anything by before. So that's Marches, and those are the only like assigned readings I have all month. So I'm very excited to just read whatever.
You're like, thank goodness I can actually read what I want to read after that. Well, I obviously these are what you want to read, but
just whatever like, I feel like,
right.
Yeah, that'll be me in March.
I have to admit, like I created TBR, even that I never follow. I'm like, I wanted to that day read those. And then someone else recommended me something. I'm like, oh, I want to read this more. Yeah. This is the problem having so many booktuber friends.
That's why I just like do a TBR and like leave room for whatever else I feel like grabbing in.
That's smart. Yeah.
If I did that, that'd be like 2 books. I mean, like my TBR is 2 books. So, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, any last thoughts on the crows?
I was excited to finally talk about them. Like I think, how long ago did you read this series, McKay?
2021.
Okay, so you read them a little bit sooner than, because I feel like I read these back in like 2018, 2017. So I'm like, it's finally nice to talk about a series that I've loved for a
while.
Ever. That's what I did this weekend. I talked about Sarah J. Maas yesterday and Leigh Bardugo today. I mean, honestly, I think I've hit my pinnacle.
Your weekend.
Yeah, you're living your fantasy romance life right now.
Yeah.
I've reached the peak of my YouTube career. I think I'm like, if I never do anything again, I'd be happy. But anyway.
Well, everyone, thanks for joining. Hope everyone has a good end of their Sunday evening. And yeah, hope everyone enjoys Shadow and Bone Season 2. Be looking forward to it. So, all right. Well, thanks, everyone. Bye.